People who were close to someone that became a murderer, what was the most suspicious trait they displayed? Growing up, my little sister Jane was always a weird kid. I had my suspicions about her, but I never thought she would be capable of such a horrific act. The first incident happened because I had refused to sleep in her bed, which she believed was a sacrifice to protect her from the boogeyman. For 2 years, I wasn't allowed to sleep in my own room. Whenever I tried, Jane would throw a tantrum until our parents convinced me to stay in her room just so everyone could finally get some rest. They even installed a bunk bed, but Jane insisted we share a single bed. One night, I woke up to find Jane had wet the bed. I was upset not just because of the pee but also because I didn't want to be there in the first place. When I refused, Jane yelled to get back into the soaked bed. She got up and tried to attack me, accidentally smearing more pee on me. We were both screaming as our parents rushed in. Jane demanded I sleep in the pee-soaked bed while she took the dry spot against the wall as if nothing happened. Our parents disagreed, which distressed Jane. She then admitted she thought a monster lived in her closet. Sharing a bed was to protect herself, and she was terrified that if I moved rooms or mattresses, the monster would attack her. Nobody knew who this monster was, and initially assumed it was a figment of her imagination. Besides, she was only 5 years old. To address this, our parents removed the top bunk's mattress and the wet one below. They convinced me to be a good big sister and protect Jane from any monster. Reluctantly, I returned to bed with her. But soon after, Jane whispered that she made me sleep there because one day the monster would come eat one of us. She planned to escape while it attacked me. Without a word, I immediately went to my own room, willing to defend her from a monster but not be monster bait. When our parents responded to the noise, I refused to go back despite their pleading. Eventually they understood and let me have my own space. From then on, I slept with my door locked for safety. It was a hard time. Our parents didn't believe me when I said Jane had tried suffocating me, so I had to take precautions to protect myself. Over the next few years, there were 2 more notable incidents. Once, I caught Jane about to cut the brake lines on my bike. When confronted, she cried that she just wanted to play a harmless prank. Another time, she tried pushing me down the stairs but claimed it was an accident. Our parents shrugged it off as childish mischief, but I knew Jane wanted to seriously hurt me. The scariest moment was discovering Jane holding a knife over me while I slept. She said she just wanted to see what it was like to stab something. After that, I refused to let Jane in my room and put an extra lock on my door. As we got older, Jane's violent tendencies lessened but did not completely go away. When I was 15 and Jane was 13, we went on a family camping trip. One night we were roasting marshmallows by the fire. Out of nowhere, Jane shoved me off the log we were sitting on, making me fall backwards into the fire. My legs got burned, though thankfully not severely. Jane apologized and said it was an accident, but I knew she had done it intentionally. Another time, we were hiking through the woods when Jane suddenly pushed me into a thorn bush. I was bleeding from all the scratches and again Jane claimed it was an accident. She said she tripped and fell into me. Our parents believed her, even though I insisted she had attacked me. The worst incident happened when I was learning to drive at age 16. Jane asked me to drive her to her friend's house across town. As I was driving, Jane suddenly grabbed the steering wheel and jerked it sharply. We went off the road and crashed into a ditch. Thankfully neither of us were seriously injured, but the car was totaled. Jane pretended to be distraught and said she had accidentally grabbed the wheel when she lost her balance. Our parents believed her, but I knew Jane had tried to make us crash. After each of these incidents, I begged my parents to get Jane more intensive treatment. They would punish her mildly but still excuse her actions as accidents or carelessness. Jane was clever at hiding her violent tendencies from others. I felt isolated and afraid as it seemed I was the only one who knew how dangerous Jane could be. Finally, when I was 17, Jane tried to stab me when we were home alone. I managed to lock myself in the bathroom and call 911. This was the definitive proof I needed to show she was still a threat. Our parents could no longer deny Jane needed serious long-term treatment. She ended up going to a facility for troubled youth for several years. When she was released, my parents kept in touch with her from a distance, but I refused to speak to her. My parents weren't the ones that cut contact with her. Jane cut contact with them. Nobody heard from her for 2 months. Nobody knew where she lived. Nobody knew if she was even alive. That is, until we saw the news. We would have thought the police would have warned us beforehand, but we woke up one morning so see Jane on the news for first-degree murder. We couldn't believe it. After my parents went down to the station and demanded our questions to be answered, they told us that Jane had cut up the bodies and stored selective organs in jars, and dissected the rest. She got fit in the hospital.